Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you're just tuning in, we are discussing the implications of Twitter ban on the Nigerian digital economy and advertising. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Biko, that's all. SMS or WhatsApp.
Hey, that's true. No, Elsie said she had a follow-up
question. Yeah, a follow-up question. Okay, so all right. Let me come to Elsie.
Yeah, when you were talking, you said something about BlackWeb, right? And
yes,
the way it is now, because Twitter is banned in Nigeria, you can classify it as a BlackWeb, right? Yes. And it means that for brands that want to be politically correct, they might not want to associate, right? Naturally. So how do they begin to gauge the conversations on there? Because Twitter will still have an impact, whether you like it or not. The conversation, the trend table is still working. Everything is still going on, especially for those who still want to be there. So the impact on brand will still be there. If a brand does something that doesn't work properly and someone comes there to start a conversation, there's also a ripple effect, yeah? So how do they gauge that as well? Maybe invisibly, and also ensure that they're doing the right thing in terms of, like you said, market analysis with digital.
Are you asking now if the ban is lifted, right?
The ban is not lifted.
How the brands will do?
Yeah.
Like I said, the fact is we are within a certain market space or geography. So you can't like say I want to use a platform in Accra or Dakar to communicate, because I have to communicate my product and services to people within a certain zone. Yeah. Otherwise, the key thing would be, let me talk to my friend in Accra. They will help me because Twitter is on anyway, whether they like it or not. But it's not the same thing. So, like I said, the only thing is you definitely have to leverage other platforms. And we know those platforms already. But content formats, methodology will change. Tracking tools and platforms already exist within all of those things we mentioned. We use them, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Clubhouse, whether it's TikTok. We have tracking tools for those, and those things exist already. But the thing is, brands have leveraged what I call the traditional four horsemen, the big boys: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. WhatsApp has been innovating a lot recently. It's going to skyrocket. Clubhouse is going to skyrocket. We already have different rooms for anything you want. When you talk about beauty and healthcare, it's there. Education, kiddie stuff. Now, a lot of brands are going to go there. But you need to have engaging conversations. So what kind of content would you create there? Because you're talking about a specific niche group of people. Now, Twitter is like what I call mass market. Even as it were, we were already looking at the long-form strategy for Twitter, because it had to go through a curve. Now, we have what we call mass customization. And those platforms already do those kind of things. So let me take an example. Brand X is into fashion, right? Now, using one of those platform example, I will curate 3 different experiences: luxury, fashion, for big-sized fashion, and maybe kiddies fashion. And then I create unique, bespoke content for those 3, rather than throwing it one form, one type of ad, one type of video format, one type of poster. So if I spend maybe $1 million a year for Twitter, for example, in sharing one particular TV ad or one particular format, I might have to do $2 to $3 million and do 15 pieces of content curated specifically for different things. Then I look at the ones that are measuring up, and then invest more in those kind of things, depending on the kind of responses. Now, I'm just talking about one format. I can adopt that strategy for YouTube. So the thing is, it makes us actually more ingenious and innovative. It's forced us to do, what was the word? Rather than look at it that what has happened has taken us 20 years back, I think it will make us leapfrog 3 years ahead. That's the way to look at it. That's what the pandemic. That's what the pandemic.
Oh, you are with me. You see why we are together?
Yes. So my question is going to be that in the event that the ban is lifted, what's the future for Twitter, or probably social media as a whole? What do you think is going to be the future?
I think it's still going to be very huge. The only thing you have to embrace evolution. It's never going to be business as usual. It's going to change. It's not going to be Twitter as usual. Before now, we were now doing, Twitter Spaces and everything about evolving. For Nigerian specific market, I think brands, individuals, especially SMEs and startups, have smartened up that they can't leverage and rely on these things anymore. It will force them to curate and develop their own experiences away from certain kinds of regulations, whether it's a physical relationship, whether it's creating their own thing on their website, but they're going to start creating those things. Look at, for example, Trump was banned, he's launching his own social media platform. How is he doing it? That's a big case study for every other person. I'm not saying it's the best case study, but it's a case study that you need to curate away from the popular forms and curate your own models and then invest it and promote it. That's you're making everyone individual now think like a startup. Not startup for products and services now, but startup for social media.
Yes.
Hold on. But if a Nigerian, right, creates a platform, right, and it works, and it's working, what is the assurance that your government will not do? No, you cannot live it, because the thing is, you think you can have a forward economy without having good policies that would back that economy.
You definitely need that.
So I mean, if somebody comes up and does it, and then it gets as big as Twitter, and people can have mass market conversation.
Can we first of all have that first?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? Yes. Is that a possibility first?
It is.
For us to be able to say, you know what? Because I loved what you said. For me, I do not see a disadvantage in all of this things that are happening.
It's a plus.
Me, I'm just looking at numbers, because there is money apparently in this business. So where are the tech guys in Nigeria to create this? So we know our government. We know who we are dealing with, right? Let's keep that one aside. But is there a possibility for us to create this platform that would match up Twitter? Because Nigeria is a huge market.
Yes.
And we can't truly depend on. See,
The
China,
answer is always
like, okay,
yes.
what I said earlier when we started the show, I said that the reason I feel that the government were not thinking straight, they didn't get it right. In China does not allow WhatsApp. But they have a chat. They have what they have created that empowers their economy. So if the government was looking at this conversation from an economic angle to say, future forward, to say, how can we build this money that Twitter is making? How can we make it, within, and let it be Nigerian owned, Nigerian grown? Then I would have a conversation with them.
I don't agree with you.
No, there are implications. There are implications for both sides. We can't say one side is totally right or wrong. But the thing is, there's what you call progress. We must progress. There must be that stage of moving forward. After we always say hashtag we move. Let's see what's next. But I can tell you for free what's next, that Yabacon, which is our own Silicon Valley, they already started doing strategy development on this. The second it happened,
which is why
I trust our guys.
Which is why I'm saying the question is not whether we can. Nigerians and the youth we have and the people we have in tech can. The question is, because you and I understand that policies, this whole drama is not because they are looking at it economically.
They just want to gag us.
The point is, you cannot have a certain conversation. You cannot say this. You cannot not support us. You cannot not be, and you cannot.
You can't criticize.
You understand?
It's gonna
so the same thing would happen even if it's homegrown, and it will be worse. So if we do not tackle it now, and you think you get an economy from this, then maybe we are all daydreaming, especially with this government.
So we have to tackle what she's saying. What I think she's saying is that we have to tackle the root cause of it rather than running to another platform. Because if you run to another platform,
and what is the root problem?
The root problem is that we are
you have to ask that question very well. What is the root
very
problem?
highly dictatorial and oppressive government. So if we don't get them out of the picture,
I think if we look at it very well, I think there's what you call a death. How would I put it? I think there's the thinking is what you call, maybe it's ephemeral. It's not as deep as you should. You've reacted on something without looking at the cyclical implications. And that's fine. But what about all of the institutions that are supposed to help guard, nurture, protect? What we have institutions, solid institutions on youth, corporate responsibility, culture. Everyone is silent while this is going on. We have, people, individuals, entire systems driving those things. But it's not. So when you ask that question, I understand what you're saying, but those people are going to create those things nevertheless. Within the ambient of regulations, within the four walls of regulations and things that guide it. Now, if the government is interested, they will go in. Like the way, for example, look at the growth in the fintech industry. They started up themselves, and now you're taxing them based on, I love what they're doing, their interest. So those things are going to happen. Twitter is because it's very visible and it's huge. Now you're going to have mini Twitter forms. And then when Twitter is unbanned, it's going to have huge competition. So in effect, it will have solid competition in its hand in the next probably 12 to 2 years, 12 months to 2 years on its hand. Now, the core issue, again, I look at it is, I think we need what you call an innovation driver that is not party inclined, that is not regional inclined, and all of those things that actually draw us back and say, I'm a representative of the government and I believe in innovation. Yeah. Whether it's youth, culture, fashion, beauty, design, and I'm the voice of all of this. And so if I see this, and I become like a steward for youth ambassadorship back to the government. I don't really think the individuals or the custodians put right now in place are the best people. Not true. That's my own view. And it's not a knock. It's not a knock at anyone.
Yes, in different ways.
It's the truth. And that kind of individual has to come from within, from those people that actually believe, drive, and understand the system. It can't be someone that is politically appointed and then is trying to put it. You have to be able to take the knocks and the love that go with it. And you can't do it if you feel you don't want to offend someone who has put you into that place. Not everything is going to be as sweet as usual. And if those actually, on the Twitter space or on social media or the entrepreneurs, if they do wrong, you also have to be able to, take the blame, take the knocks and learn from it. So I'm not saying anyone's side is wrong or wrong, but I believe all of us as human beings, we have to have empathy. Empathy for the government in terms of also trying to create a responsible system and platform. But more so, those people who not only use it to make money, we're just talking about the brands and advertising. What about those that use it to express themselves? Those that don't have anything else. They just vent. Yeah. But that's where they vent. And they go back to their thing. What would have happened last year if there was no Twitter? People will be on the streets continuously. There's nothing not to share. After you voice out, like you talk, then you get angry. Then you go, they listen, maybe they hear, let me go out, go listen to it. But now, I'm boiling inside. There's no way to express it. I can't shout at anybody. That becomes a form of mental...
Crime would increase. Suicide would increase.
It has a deep... It's a deep bent itself.
Because they've always blamed Twitter for being the reason for the protests. But now you're saying that was even an avenue for people to vent, and we didn't have as much people as we should have on the streets.
I was going to ask you a question, but I just lost my line of thought.
So our network is glitching. We'll be coming to that WhatsApp, but there were messages coming, but I can't find it now. Okay. So I was going to say to you that what would be a reasonable direction, right, as a way forward? If the government is watching now, how would you advise? Because for me, honestly speaking, Twitter, we had a conversation around Nollywood. And I remember the guest specifically said Twitter. And when Genevieve got the deal with Lionheart and Netflix, Nigerians went on Twitter and said, it's too much now, I can do it for less. The truth is that we are not responsible, Nigerians, and I'm adding myself, we're not responsible with the kind of information that we put out there about ourselves, right? So what would be a reasonable way forward, right? If they give us all the conditions, they come out with Twitter and all of that, what do you think a way forward would be? I would say this is an opportunity for other platforms to rise. So we can now start to build homegrown side by side with the Twitter. But let me hear your expert opinion.
No,
now you have remembered what you want to say.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Does he think that we are ripe enough for...
social media?
No, I mean for regulation. Do you think social media should be regulated?
I think it should be. I think any responsible government, even as a business individual, you should embrace. It's not something you should run away from. Why would you want to run away from? Except you're trying to do something freaky or something. But I think it's fine. But again, social media should have its own certain spaces. It's not the way you would, the kind of regulations you put on a traditional NBC. Yeah. There's a reason it's called social media. The terms social. I'm supposed to be engaged, be liberal, be free. But I'm not supposed to just, cuss at someone. I can say I don't like you, but I'm not supposed to say something that will make you feel less of yourself.
You think you have the right to insult me?
Yes, no, you shouldn't do that.
It's too much.
So that is why I said I would welcome it, but not ban it was a total far departure. But of course, we'll welcome regulations. But you guys go do your things, like parents in the house. Make sure you don't go to the swimming pool without my guidance, but play, feel free, enjoy yourselves. That's Big Brother. That's the federal government. That's what the Ministry of Communications and Youth is supposed to pursue. And we should also abide and respect those rules. Play, do your thing, communicate, vent, chat, talk, but don't insult, don't disparage individuals. Yes, so we'll definitely do that, yes.
Quite a number of children, especially in Europe, are committing suicide because of social media.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think it should
So yes, I agree.
I've seen people that go to commit crimes, do so many things because of what they read on social media. So there's a bad influence, and we need to be honest with ourselves, right? I mean, Nigeria is a beautiful place. We have so many wonderful things. As we're having good things, we're also having very bad things. But I'm saying that every time you go on Twitter, there's so much bitterness, there's so much, there's so much, it's too much. At some point, you need to also control your mental space. I'm saying. So that's why a lot of people left Twitter for them. They left Twitter for them. It's true.
You could say that. Sorry, you could say that for the daily newspapers.
Yeah.
If you read the daily newspapers every day, you would have hypertension in 3 days. No. So it's the same thing. Yeah. As long as news is put out there, you can't say you're going to run from it. You can't say curate it and send me what you like. No. Which is why we have things like Flipboard, and you have other platforms where you select the kind of stories and content you want. It curates it for you. But on a mass market product, you can't say create for me. That's your responsibility to say, I'm going to follow this hashtag. It's as long as you're over 18 years old, you should be able to do that. So you can't put that blame on Twitter. Neither can you do that on the government.
But how do they measure the ages of people that come on Twitter?
No, you're supposed to.
13, from the ages of 13, from the ages of...
They
how
lie.
do you measure it? Yeah, because children actually go on it, and there's still where they can know. So it's part of the problems I have with social media. The age control.
Well, I think for children that go on is they actually lie about
the age because you're supposed to put a certain age.
So I think there should be more stringent control.
Let's go back home.
I don't think that should come from the social. I think that should come from parental and guidance, because they have a role to play in that as well.
Which is that? They're not banned.
When it's unbanned, right?
Which is evil.
When it's unbanned.
There's no money to be made on Twitter.
What's your problem?
They have banned it, and that's where we are. Me and Lai Mohammed, we are together. We are not.
So frankly, tell me.
Yes.
So when they eventually lift the ban, how do we make money there?
There's a lot of ways, man. There's a lot of ways. The first thing is, what story do you have to tell? What's your story? You can make a story. You can make money as your personal brand. You can make it for your organization, promoting your products and services. You can make it by creating a platform that people are interested in. If you, for example, you're talking about this mental stuff, it's big in Europe, in Asia. We have brands and individuals also promoting it, but we need stronger, more purposeful platforms. So I believe we live in the age of purpose, like what you call the purpose economy. So I would ask you, what's your purpose? Create a purpose platform for the mental, for mental those that are this thing, or something that promotes empathy or kindness, and drive that. I'll tell you, there are brands waiting for those kind of things. So it's not about drink and dance and party and stuff. There are other things that you can talk about, creating something that helps with, mental wellness, and acuity and developing your faculties. And I believe those things can be amplified, and brands are looking for those things to help drive, growth and development in that regard.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, did we just get the message? One came up.
So finally, the
network was bad. Okay. Okay. This is our in-house conversation. We'll do that later. Thank you so much. All right, so thank you so much, Franklin. I think we've had a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, we have.
Yes. We will try, because tomorrow we want to talk about the Twitter again, but on a different angle. Now, tomorrow is our turn to vent. We'll now open the phone line for people out in because I think a lot of people are just very emotional about this thing. It was important that we set the stage, with you, and I think you really balanced the conversation. So it's not just enough for you to government. Make we separate things and do it right. That's all. So ladies, you have any final comments?
We'll say tomorrow. Join us at 8 p.m.
At 8 p.m.
Right.
Tomorrow we want to hear.
Did you ask me?
Okay, please.
Okay,
I said ladies now.
I don't know.
Tell me.
No, now is lady lawyer.
Lady lawyer.
To be very candid with you, I'm not very social media savvy.
Yeah.
So I'm just struggling with conversation.
So really? It's not interesting to you.
It's not. I really cannot I can't feel what people are feeling towards Twitter. I wish I could.
What's your best platform you're using right now? Which yes.
Any platform.
I know.
Social media.
she's a lawyer. Word of mouth. Referral.
And I just started thinking of migrating to online to be more visible online. I just started. I would start with Instagram.
Until they lift our ban.
I wish I can feel what people are feeling. I wish.
Well, some people are like you, actually. I haven't started making money on social media, so when I start making money, maybe I would have felt it. But some people are feeling it.
Some people are.
All right, so before we go, do ensure to follow us on Instagram. At PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. Most importantly, we're planning a huge giveaway to say thank you to you for watching and believing in the Waze brand. So follow the conversation on Instagram.
Hey!
You have to get used to it.
So do well to follow us, like, share, invite your friends, and don't watch the show alone. Always invite people to watch the show with you. What? So we said tomorrow we're talking Twitter again. We're doing a part 2 of Twitter, but just us ladies. So we look forward to that conversation. So remember, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. The internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow. That's on Bill Gates. To swear. We'll see you live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Thank you.